'Tis the season. Not just a holiday season to be around friends and family, but a season that is more important to major retail consumer stores and e-commerce websites. The Black Friday season. For those who remember Black Friday, before the rise of online shopping, this was more of a time to prepare for a battle. Staying up late to go to the mall, standing in a long line while in the cold outside the doors of a store, always wishing to have more layers on, and to mention hours before opening in early mornings, just to see the line of people, to turn into a crowd around the front of the doors, right when they begin to open. Everyone's pushing each other, running to the bargain bin sections, fighting over discounted clothing, electronics, and toys. Sometimes you leave with a good deal, maybe a bruise, or other times empty-handed. But, of course, in today's online shopping, the physical debate of first come, first serve is no longer a threat to one's well-being. Standing in lines is modernized by logging into a website and waiting for a digital timer to count down to see the sales rise. It's a luxury for snagging items, just in time to wrap them for the holidays. But there's a different type of risk. A risk where customers fall victim to a cybercrime due to a deal that might be too good to be true. Let's dive deeper into the hidden shadows of cyber threats during the Black Friday season. Hi, and welcome Cyber Defenders. My name is Reanna Schultz, and I will be your aide today as I guide you through exploring different learning opportunities through CyberSpeak Labs. During your time here, it is important for you to know that the lab is designed for us to collaborate and to learn. Today, we are going to put on our lab coats and learn about two major cyber incidents that interrupted the excitement of Black Friday shopping. Let us use our laboratory instruments to understand the science behind these major incidents. Defenders, as we continue to learn more about these events, it's important to think and hypothesize on the following. What can you do to promote safety towards Black Friday scams? Should companies have heightened awareness around cyber threats during major holidays? What are ways that you are ensuring shopping safe online during the holidays? Now that we understand today's assignment, let's put on our wide coats and enter the lab to learn. It's 1858 in New York City. A young woman is shopping for a big party that she got invited to. This party is notable in New York City, and a lot of bachelors and upper-class families will be attending. This woman knows it is a must to have the best fabric for her gown. She walks up to a shop on 14th Street. The front of the sign of the store says, R.H. Macy & Co. Walking in, there is an array of different fabrics between cotton, linen, wool, but most importantly, there were luxury fabrics like satin, velvet, and other imported goods like lace. The woman awed in excitement. The store was very different compared to others in the city. It catered to product displays, giving her inspiration for her gown, and the store had a new policy she's never seen before. What is this, she thought? A return policy? The woman smiled in delight. She felt secure that if she purchased something she did not like when making her dress, she was able to come back and return it for the price she purchased it for. This pleased the woman. She gathered the fabric that inspired her and took it to the register. The man greeted her with a very wholesome, welcoming smile and asked if she found everything she was looking for. The woman giggled with excitement and noticed something on the man's arm. The man was wearing a long-sleeve shirt and was rolled up past his forearms. "Excuse me, sir, what does that mark mean?" she asked in wonder. "Oh, the red star? Why, this is from when I was an active sailor. I always believed it brought luck and guidance," he said with a charm. Eventually, this red star became the iconic branding for Macy's. With the story being over 100 years old, it still has the reputation of great customer service and inspiring displays to lure customers in for a charming shopping experience. Roland Hussey, the original owner of Macy's, in fact, one of the biggest retail stores that promotes Black Friday like no other. In fact, Macy's has been around for almost 100 years now, eventually passing down to another family known as the Strauss family. And if you do your research on this family, the owner was a victim of the 1912 Titanic sinking, but the family had brought joy to many, including introducing the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade in 1924. In addition to launching their first ever Black Friday that same year, Black Friday became more commercialized, but the hype didn't kick off until the 70s, where the stores offered major doorbuster deals and extended retailer hours for their opening to promote these deals. Now, to modernize their customer shopping experience, Macy's had launched their first website in 1996. As Macy's continued to grow their platform by going international, building social media presence, and becoming one of the big retail stores as of today in the United States, there was one event that they did not consider that could impact their reputation, customer experience, and brand. Now, this was breaking news. Everyone knew at Macy's. This had left a lot of customers and news stations puzzled. What happened to Macy's? Wouldn't there be cyber protections for this? Well, not every reputable company can be protected at 100%. There is always one small risk. Around this time, there was a rise of an underground data skimming operation called MageCart. This operation was used to capture customer payment information from online stores and checkout pages. This was done by exploiting vulnerabilities that were found in third-party tools or even scripts that are built or referenced throughout e-commerce websites. Now, since time has passed, it is hard to say with confidence how the architecture of Macy's website was truly made. But multiple research sources have claimed that Macy's e-commerce website for checkout was internally developed, so they didn't use any of these third-party services. But it doesn't rule out the fact that they had an option to use a third-party library or dependency for their website to support these e-commerce demands. Now, regardless how the exploit happened, on October 7th, threat actors were able to modify Macy's customer registration and wallet pages. These pages were very crucial because this is where customers would register for the website or even modify their credit card information to be able to check out and purchase items online. Threat actors did this by injecting malicious code to an existing JavaScript file called client-side-errorlog.javascript. It is a probable theory that this JavaScript file was chosen because it referenced on both the customer wallet, checkout pages, and then also that registration page as well. Threat actors modified the file that allows threat operations to collect data such as, but again, not limited to, customers' full name, mailing addresses, telephone numbers, and even payment card details. This skimming had blended perfectly with Macy's checkout procedures that a customer or even a developer would not notice the modified code. Well, at first glance anyways. Eventually, the modified file was discovered within a week and was removed from the Macy's website by October 15th. However, the notice was not sent to customers until later in November, which greatly impacted their sales for the following Black Friday season. External-facing breaches like this can result into a huge loss with reputation and trust with customers. Even though Macy's had remediated the issue and sent notice to the customers most likely had to cancel existing credit cards and order new ones, which might have taken some time with the holiday season. According to multiple online sources, the retail sales was down 39% from the previous years during Black Friday. But Macy's wasn't the only major store to face these attacks during Black Friday season. We'll be taking a short break and returning to another assignment in the CyberSpeak Labs. Enjoy your break, defenders and lab coats, and see you soon. Welcome back to the CyberSpeak Labs Defenders in Lab Coats. Let us continue to deep dive into our cyber assignments within the CyberSpeak Labs. If you're a frequent visitor to CyberSpeak Labs, we know that cyber threats can happen in many different ways and in many different forms. One common way for years, yes, I mean years, is through social engineering tactics, such as phishing emails. Phishing emails allow a threat actor to really target a user's emotions or ignorance to how they interact with emails, depending on the malicious intent and who is behind them. These threats can be sophisticated and difficult to spot with the normal email browsing eye. We can think about the holiday season. What type of emails do you normally receive? Me personally, I get a ton of coupons or even promotional deals, and most importantly, hey, this is what's going to be on sale. Things that are attention, eye-grabbing, and most importantly, I have to be careful with my information when shopping online, especially around Black Friday. A lot of online retail stores really promote their Black Friday deals through email campaigns to try to promote that digital traffic to visit their online store. Even some online retailers will start their Black Friday deals prior to Black Friday to promote consumer attraction. One reputable online retailer that is known worldwide is Amazon. Amazon has been participating in Black Friday promotions since around 2010. In fact, Amazon takes Black Friday one step further and expands its online deals into a multi-day event, which is later advertised as Cyber Monday. And that's in case you forget to visit Amazon during the Black Friday day. Now, Amazon has always been known to evolve with online customer experience. In earlier years of Amazon participating in Black Friday, they would have a selection of what is called lightning deals, where it was a week of discounts on selected products, electronics, books, and other popular gifts. Amazon used these weeks to test their capacity for surges of online orders, and they would be able to use these metrics to handle large-scale Black Friday or Cyber Monday deals, which by 2024, these lightning deals are still part of that shopping experience and is a great way for consumers to get deals on limited stocked items, even with the Amazon mobile app. And for disclosure, this podcast episode is not sponsored by Amazon, but I always get happy promoting a good usable customer experience, especially with Black Friday. The Amazon app allows consumers to get notified with deals that are currently ongoing for items that might be interested in, or even with Amazon product promotions such as Prime and Audible. But in 2020, Black Friday was a dangerous year for online shoppers. This was the first Black Friday season during a global pandemic due to COVID-19. Online scammers and threat actors thrived in this virtual environment. In fact, one of the top leading threats, again, during this year, was phishing. Threat actors really targeted the false trust with consumers around the holiday season, masquerading themselves to be sending emails on the behalf of reputable online retailer stores. One of these retailers being Amazon. In fact, Amazon was being masqueraded so much, this had drove an increase of these fraudulent emails by 106% compared to the 2019 Black Friday season. And this metric was pulled from multiple cybersecurity firms. One cybersecurity firm, such as Webroot, and another one, CyberSpeak, confirmed this increase and even released their own awareness for consumers to be extremely careful with how they're handling their online data, and to take an extra moment to ensure the authenticity of emails that were being sent to them directly. These fraudulent emails were no joke. Not only did these emails appear to be threatening to consumers, using phrases like payment failure or account suspicion, but the email contents contained a sense of urgency that would encourage the users to interact with the malicious link in the email. These links would redirect to websites that would appear as if it is Amazon. The users would then verify information into the bogus website like credit cards, addresses, emails, and sometimes creating new passwords by entering old ones. Cybersecurity vendors saw this trend and started to post advisories about holiday scams, such as, hey, maybe you should hover over email links, look for bad spelling, or even URLs that only use HTTP and not HTTPS. Some even took additional steps to share awareness towards smishing, a social engineering attempt where a user would receive a text message claiming it was a business like Amazon regarding things such as fraudulent activity on account or even shipping notifications for items that they didn't even purchase. Now, through 2020 and mid-2021, the United States Federal Trade Commission, also known as the FTC, had published a report. This report had outlined details about the 2020 impersonations that were complaints filed to the FTC. You would not believe the number of complaints. I'll give you a hint. It's more than 50,000, more than 70,000. In fact, FTC claims it was roughly 96,000 complaints were filed related towards Amazon impersonations throughout the 2020 year. One of those complaints, FTC had outlined that roughly 6,000 individuals reported financial loss, which the loss, in fact, this blows my mind. The loss had totaled over 27 million US dollars. That's insane, completely insane. But now there is confidence evidence that Amazon themselves were not really impacted by these social engineering tactics. Yet, Amazon still used this opportunity, and especially with the rise of people reporting these false emails that looked like Amazon to Amazon had used this to educate their customers on how to recognize and avoid phishing attempts. Amazon might not have had any financial revenue impacted by this, but customers of Amazon most likely could have lost their trust in the authenticity of the emails that were actually from Amazon. That's why Amazon took that extra step. Education and customer relations was very crucial during this time. Now, even though other cyber firms were posting advisories towards this type of targeted threat during 2020, Amazon never did a press release about the social engineering attempts that were masquerading their business. From public forums like Reddit and other platforms, Amazon appeared to be providing that general consumer education on how to recognize an authentic Amazon communication versus one that is potentially fake and malicious. Amazon had even partnered with organizations like Better Business Bureau to share user education and awareness during this time. Now, as a disclaimer for all listeners, it's important that you research your country's laws against cyber research and other hacking and cyber activity considerations. Failure to adhere to laws and other administrations could lead to punishment and other obligations suited for the crime. You can find more information about your country's guidelines and laws by visiting their government, legal database, or cybersecurity agency's website. It is always advised to discuss with legal professionals for official guidance and breakdown with these laws for further questions. I am not a legal counselor, but I think it's important for you to understand where to find information and know limitations before practicing cybersecurity tools and research. Additionally, if you are someone that you know or has fallen victim to a cyber scam or incident, it's important to report this to your local authorities and follow your country's reporting guidelines for these activities. You never know who you might protect in the future by reporting this. As defenders, it is our job to learn about past breaches or cyber events and understand how did they occur and what could have been done different to prevent this. Events like Macy's breach and Amazon cyber scams will provide us listeners and learners lessons that can still be applied today. As part of our CyberSpeak Labs assignments, I do have questions for the lab. The first question I'm going to highlight is, what can you do to ensure you're safely not falling victim to a holiday social engineering tactic? I always suggest to friends and family, take a second, pause, and think, is this real? Go through the steps to check if an email's authentic. If you received an unknown text message, it's probably not legit. The second thing I always like to promote is, does the sender match the contact information on the website? Does the phrasing seem off, or is the tone inconsistent? Additionally, I always recommend for any customer who orders online items to enable MFA on their customer account or even their email account themselves. This will allow as secondary protection if your email account and password does become compromised. Another question I propose, how could reputable companies like Macy's prevent a breach from occurring? There are a lot of answers to this question. One way I'm going to answer this is to ensure you have a solid relationship with your third-party service. If you're a frequent visitor to CyberSpeak Labs, you might have known from previous lab assignments that third-party vendors, libraries, and relations are not always secure. This can lead to a backdoor into reputable companies like Macy's. It's important to do a true risk evaluation of the third-party usage to identify any potential security concerns and ensure proper escalations are in place if a breach does occur. Like, who are you going to call at that company if their service is compromised? Communication is absolutely key here. Now, in your opinion, is online shopping for Black Friday just as dangerous as it was to physically visit a store on Black Friday back in the day? What do you think, defenders and lab coats? Do you have any questions or ideas you'd like to share? If so, I encourage you to post them in the comments. This is why learning from one another is so important. The cyber community is filled with passionate defenders like yourself who are experts in different corners. Let me know what you think. Thank you all for joining me in the CyberSpeak Labs today and becoming a cyber defender in lab coats. I'm Reanna Schultz, your lab aide and podcast host for this episode. As part of a collaborative lab, I want to give a huge thanks to some of the CyberSpeak Lab researchers for this episode. Kathy Montgomery and Mario Woods for their incredible contribution and sharing their passions for this episode. I highly encourage anyone to connect with them on LinkedIn and follow their cyber journey as they also become experts in their field. CyberSpeak Labs is always looking for suggestions for guest collaborations and cyber topics. You can submit them by going to cyberspeaklabs.com. I encourage you all to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast because, again, that's how we continue to grow this lab. Thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you in the lab again soon.